Good news for AIDS patients in Los Angeles today. The city council there unanimously passed an ordinance protecting the rights of people who suffer from AIDS. But as Heidi Schulman reports tonight, fear of this disease is making discrimination all too common.
Garrett Freeman has AIDS. When they learned that, an ambulance crew called to his house one night refused to take him. His roommate drove him to the county hospital.
I was so ill. He asked one of the attendants, he told him that I had AIDS, and the person said outright, "I'm not touching him." Just like that.
Freeman is confined at home with an attendant. His employer fired him when he only suspected he had AIDS. His friends have dropped him. His ex-wife is afraid for their daughters.
When was the last time you hugged the children, and are the kids going to get AIDS, and this and that, but she won't let me see them anymore.
How long has it been since you've seen them?
Probably about 2.5 years.
George McGurn, who takes care of Freeman, experiences the same rejection, even though he does not have AIDS.
Yes, my landlord had suggested that since I would be working with AIDS patients, would I calmly not use the washer and dryer.
That kind of fear is common as AIDS cases increase, despite the fact that expert medical opinion says the disease cannot be spread through casual contact. AIDS victims are shunned.
People with AIDS are treated like lepers in more than one case. I mean, it's not at all uncommon for us to get calls from people who were fired from their jobs, who were canceled their insurance companies, their families asked them to leave their home. I mean, anything you can imagine in terms of people being afraid and not wanting to get near someone happens to people with AIDS.
Lawyers Lee Walker and Peter Laura represent several AIDS patients with job problems.
We find very often they face discrimination, whether it's harassment from co-workers, or whether it's termination, or whether just a change in job assignment.
We had another case where an employee actually told the employer in person that he had AIDS. The employer then flew into a rage and started yelling at this person to get out and never come back.
Some AIDS patients have been thrown out by their dentists, forced to seek treatment at public clinics where masks and rubber gloves are standard procedure. Scott was able to find a new dentist, but he won't be able to see his new nephew, and he says that hurts the most. The child's pediatrician feared Scott would give the baby AIDS.
How can you blame people for ignorance, for not understanding? I blame them for thinking they have a right to tell somebody else who he can see and who he can't. They certainly have a right to decide they'd rather not be around me.
And yet you're the victim of their ignorance.
You're damn right.
AIDS Project workers hope public education will end the myths about AIDS, but Scott's case proves that until doctors themselves know more about the disease, the fear and discrimination will likely remain. Heidi Schulman, NBC News, Los Angeles.